Okay, 5090 time. So let's see what we can do here in various games, various settings. I say this in all my videos recently because I've had a few people ask, most people seem to get it, but a few people have asked, why don't you do game capture? Well, it's a laptop. I want to show the laptop. I want to show the screen. I want to show the noise. I want to show the experience of using the laptop. It's not a desktop computer. Okay, so let's commence the play. Again, this is native with everything maxed out. I don't expect any issues here with this game. I mean, it's pretty well optimized from my understanding and from my experience, and we have a 5090 laptop here, so with a very powerful CPU. I would like to emphasize that I am not good at this game. I don't really even know what I'm supposed to be doing, just running around grabbing crap, I guess. Seems like a strange concept to me. So it seems to be running quite well. We're not going to need really much, to be honest. We can play with the performance modes and that, but yeah. Good lows. 0.1% lows are 43. It's decent, to be honest. The 1% lows are quite good, and the average is obviously very high. Let's throw it in a lower mode here. Go to balance mode here. 86 watts. What are we going to set out here? Almost 100 watts. It's interesting because the AMD version of this laptop, the balanced mode, it really takes a lot of watts off of the GPU, and I think that's because the CPU is less efficient there, and so it's kind of struggling to balance the two of them, whereas here it's just like, yeah, whatever. The CPU doesn't need many watts, it's Intel, and so it just really lowers down the GPU, lowers down the CPU and keeps the GPU up, which is nice. Whee. So much quieter under balance mode. The nice thing is, I mean, we have such a powerful GPU like the 5090, even when you lower the watts down, I mean, you're still, yeah, you're taking a fair bit off the performance, but it's still a lot of performance regardless. So it's like you go from good performance, like excellent performance, to very good performance. It's still quite nice. Silent mode should run well. I wish those robot things wouldn't do stuff while I was trying to check performance modes. She can run for 2 seconds and then become tired. Come on. Come on, bro. It's running very well in silent mode too. Look at that. Like, you're getting a very quiet experience here. Still ripping 80 FPS. This is native, right? With all the fixins turned on. And the GPU is at, 75. Still a decent, respectable number of watts on the GPU, obviously. Okay, little Borderlands. Now, this is max settings, native, ray tracing, everything on. This is very good as a baseline. This is very good as a baseline. I wouldn't play like this. I tested this on the 5080, sorry, and it was getting probably about 30-35. So this is a pretty big jump from that. I mean, it's a more powerful GPU, obviously. So that's good. And both were similar. You were not where you want it to be, but it was a really good baseline, I'll put it that way. So you can come in here, and then you can basically just use a little bit of scaling here. If I can find it. Here we are. DLSS, balanced. And this should get us to a very playable, it was about 60 on the 5080, 60, 61. Yeah, we're getting an extra 10 to 15% here, which lines up perfectly. So there you go. So you can max the game out, throw it on balance scaling, and away you go. That's the takeaway here, basically. We can play with some other stuff, but that's really giving you a really good frame rate for not needing to turn down any settings, put it that way. A little bit of scaling, you're not going to be able to tell it's on. I will try a little bit of frame gen. I said this in the other video. I don't like frame gen, but if you can get your base frame rate up to about 60 or so, even 50, but 60 preferable, then using frame gen it's much less noticeable in terms of the latency. Like, I'm not noticing it here because, we have a 60 base frame rate. Now, it doesn't help the lows or anything, which is why I don't use it, because it helps my average. But then you still have a bigger split between the lows and the average, which I don't like. But either way, I mean, it's still very playable, obviously. Now, another thing you can do, you can come in here and you can turn it down by 1. Very high is still going to be very good. We can turn off frame gen. So we went from epic down to very high. Let's try it without scaling and see what we can get in terms of like a native high type experience. And then we can turn the scaling back on and see where we're at. But I do suspect that turning down these settings here would actually give us a very big jump in performance, even without scaling. Yeah, so turning down the settings did give us a pretty big jump. Not enough to get up to 60, but decent enough jump. I mean, personally, I just leave the settings up higher and then just throw on scaling, because that was all you really needed, but we can try this. A little bit of scaling on the same thing, and now we're up way higher, like 80. I mean, there's something to be said about being at like an 80 FPS rather than a 60 FPS. Just to get that extra little bit of a boom. If your frames drop down, you're going to be laughing. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so Cyberpunk 2077. This is 1600p ultra native. Obviously, you're going to get really good FPS here. You have a powerful GPU and a powerful CPU. We'll play with some scaling, scaling and some performance modes here. But you can see here, I mean, very playable without ray tracing or any form of scaling whatsoever. Let's throw it down to balance mode here. See what we get in terms of wattages. I do suspect it'll run well. Yeah. Still getting 60-ish or so on balance mode, so it's going to be much quieter. GPU is still pulling a decent amount. Silent mode, I'm guessing more like something like 45 or whatever. Let's see though. 50. It's not bad. I mean, still very playable. As a base, yeah, it's dropping down a little bit. But you can throw in some scaling here, right? So we'll leave it on silent mode just for a second here. And we'll just throw in a touch of scaling here. We'll go like that, balance mode. Okay, so silent now with balance scaling. And it's very playable now on silent. So you can just play the game on silent, meaning it's silent, it's very quiet, but you can just plan a little bit of scaling. Now we have to wait for Kurt Hansen to stop talking because he will drop your performance by 20%. Funnily, I reported this to some people at CDPR and they're like, oh yeah, it does destroy your performance. Watch this. And he comes on every like 2 minutes and just destroys your FPS. Massive performance bump. So anyways, yeah, so with silent mode, if you throw in some scaling, you're laughing, right? You're well above 60. Excellent performance here. If you want high performance, though, throw it on the performance mode with a little bit of scaling and boom, very high. Now, I recently tested this with a 5080, but it had a X3D CPU, and Yeah, it was doing really well. X3D CPU can help quite a bit. Usually more lower resolutions than that, but still good here as well. Now I am going to throw on some ray tracing. I don't like, let's throw that back up. I do not like frame gen in this game. It doesn't behave very well. I don't like frame gen in general, but especially in this game, it's weird. So here's ultra ray tracing with just scaling. Okay, so here is Doom, the Dark Ages. We are at Ultra Nightmare. And pretty sure we were native. Let's just double check that. Its frame rate seems pretty high. Ultra native. Okay, their DLSS was on. So go TA. There we go. So Ultra Nightmare native. No ray tracing though, but no path tracing. Sorry, it has ray tracing at baseline. I am not good at playing this game with a mouse and keyboard, by the way. All right, there we go. Now we can play the game because we have an actual controller, how games were meant to be played. So it's running really well. We'll come up here. We'll throw in a little bit of ray tracing in a minute, or path tracing. But I mean, this is the game maxed out with no scaling and very high frames, right? It's pretty impressive. Yeah, it's pretty good. Anyways, let's throw in some path tracing now. Turn it all on. Okay, so that's ray tracing with ray reconstruction. It's not bad as a baseline, let's be honest. 50 with the game totally maxed. Honestly, let's just throw in a little bit of scaling because like it's playable here. I wouldn't, but it's playable. Let's throw the scaling all the way up to performance. Like that. There you go. Very good considering fully maxed out. Yeah, it's running really well, obviously. Get wrecked, bro. If you really want path tracing, if it's something you care about, just obviously you can see that it is very doable in this game. You'll need to fiddle with the settings a little bit. Yeah.